Welcome back to On Record PR. I'm Jennifer Simpson Carr, and I am once again joined this week by Deb Ruffins, a member of Furia Rubel's international faculty. Hi again, Deb.
Hi, glad to be back. Look forward to continuing our conversation.
Yes, so we are recording this episode to release on Monday, October 13th. In last week's conversation, we talked about why the traditional billable hour model is no longer enough for growth and why clients are seeking law firms that act as true business partners. So if you are a listener and have not tuned into that episode yet, we encourage you to do so. We will have a link in the show notes so you can easily access it. So to Deb, today we're building on that conversation. We're going to talk about solutions. Everyone
Okay.
loves solutions, so let's give them all the answers.
Some of
So
the answers,
some of
maybe.
the
Some of the
answers,
answers.
yes, or at least a lot to think about, right? So what can law firms actually do to operationalize this? How can they break down silos and encourage collaboration? I know that's always a big sticking point. Identifying metrics and quick wins that might be helpful, and what leaders can start thinking about. So let's talk about moving from the idea to the action. Where
Mhm.
does cross-practice collaboration come into play in strengthening client relationships?
Yeah, that's a very big, very important point. First, it's client expectations. They say, bring me more of the firm in every single interview, feedback survey, whatever. So clients see their challenges as multifaceted. Like they need integrated solutions, not siloed expertise. And so collaboration offers many benefits. You can deliver if you take a holistic company-wide, industry-wide view of the client's needs, then you will have the ability to craft comprehensive solutions across multiple legal disciplines. And firms that do this become entrenched as go-to advisors across the spectrum of needs. So what's the strategic value there? Stronger value propositions. If you bring more lines, you're going to automatically be differentiated. And then there's this multi-line incumbency thing. Like it's much harder to dislodge a firm that is delivering across practices, right? So it would become a true demonstration of the whole of the firm serving the whole of the client.
So it's a phenomenal answer, and I'm
And
going to put my I'm going to put my hat on for the listener. That
okay.
sounds great, Deb, but
Uh-huh.
our firm is eat what you kill,
Hmm.
which does not incentivize me or my partners to be collaborative, right? And so let's talk about that. How do you address that tension between the billable hour, that eat
Uh-huh.
what you kill, if you will, model,
Yeah.
and that long-term business development mindset that you're talking about?
Yeah, that is a common pushback. And there's two other challenges at play. The billable model makes BD an afterthought. So not only does it not incentivize collaboration, but it doesn't even incentivize action to begin with. And then the finder, minder, grinder mindset still looms large, and people put themselves self-select into these artificial buckets. Um, I think there's a couple of paths forward here. So technology should be an enabler.
Mhm.
If you build efficiency into service delivery, you can free time for client care and relationship building. And if you shift you to care and presence, showing up and being attentive and investing time with clients, that this builds trust with clients and unlocks opportunities. And if you are truly listening to clients and their needs, where they are saying, we want to see more of your firm. Yes, I have a problem here, but it also has this, this, and this. And if you are truly sitting down with them and co-developing the solution, you'll bring this, and this. And one of the incentives I think that does not get addressed enough about team-based business development, about collaboration, is if you share the responsibility across a group, across a team, it reduces the burden on individuals.
Mm.
You do also therefore have to build trust with your partners. So the work has to be done internally and externally. But if you are developing solutions internally to start with, looking at clients and sectors holistically to start with and working together before you go talk to the client, I've seen this work incredibly in building teams across practices and opening eyes. saying, I didn't know you did this, or that this is what it means. So, if you think about all the focus on data centers, everybody thinks that is tech, but it's also environmental. And when they come together, it makes an incredible impact for clients.
And
So
it's
it can't remain a side activity. It has to be done to sustain revenue growth.
and you're talking about the way clients think about the work
Yes,
lawyers do,
yes.
right? Not the practice groups that fall within a website.
You talked about it in the last podcast of general counsels making the transition from outside counsel to inside and having to shift. That this is the view they have to shift to.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm,
And there's nothing, more jarring from an in-house business development perspective, right?
mhm.
From a person sitting in the law firm who knows the ins and outs of the industries and groups, when there is an email sent to whatever your email address is at your firm, firm-wide email, distribution to all. Does anyone have a lawyer that does X? And you do that work at your firm.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, communication is key and systems and processes are key. And, I come from outside legal before my career in legal, and all of the professional services invest heavily in knowledge management in ways that I think that the legal industry can learn from.
So let's talk about leadership's role in all of this. What role should firm leadership play in modeling and rewarding this type of work?
Well, first, model the behavior. It's in the question, right? If leaders aren't good rainmakers, highlight those who are. Highlight people who perform the behavior of business development. So communicate success. Share stories of BD wins, of BD best practices. Share them, and also set the expectation that lawyers have a responsibility to go out and generate revenue in teams in this ways. And then the piece that I have seen is often missing is accountability. So hold practice sector and client office, however you go to market, however your structure, hold those leaders responsible for driving business development activity. And what I mean practically here is leaders should act as sales managers, coaching lawyers on pipeline, client conversations, and opportunity development. Reward and recognition systems, they should reflect the BD contributions, not just the hours billed, but that's a different hill, and that's not one I'm going to die on. I think the behavior-based leadership piece is key.
So we talk a lot as international faculty members on how do we measure the success of the work
Yeah.
we do with firms.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that piece here because firms are probably thinking, okay, we can implement different ideas, but how do we measure the success of efforts in a way that's meaningful beyond billable hour numbers or revenue numbers?
2 ways. And this is a hill I will die on. I've been beating this drum since I came over to legal. Pipeline and opportunity management. Track opportunities, not just close deals. Track them to help nurture them through the sales process. That's the leadership accountability piece I just talked about a moment ago. And also measure behavior productivity. So measure the activities that drive outcomes, meetings, relationship building activities, collaboration. So measure the inputs and then the outputs will follow because revenue, as you said, is a lagging indicator. Behavior and pipeline data are leading indicators of sustainable growth.
Hmm.
So visibility, transparency into this activity, because what gets measured.
Yeah. No, this is great. Let's pause here for a message from our sponsor, and then when we get back, let's talk about a quick win that a listener could take away to start building momentum in this area.
This episode is brought to you by Furia Ruble Communications, a public relations and marketing agency serving law firms and businesses worldwide. With an expert team positioned throughout the U.S. and supported by an international faculty, Furia Ruble enhances our clients' brands through integrated communications by providing expert guidance in crisis management and high profile litigation, protecting brand and reputation, and supporting internal marketing teams. To learn more, visit furiaruble.com.
Deb, we're back from our sponsor message. So I want to finish with one quick win a firm could implement in the next, I don't know, before the end of the year, right? December 31st, you have the last quarter of the year, and you want to start building momentum in this area. What's a quick win?
Start tracking opportunities. No surprise that I would say this. It works because it creates visibility and accountability. It
Mhm.
also generates momentum by shifting the focus from the reactive to the proactive, to the things that are in the lawyer's controls. You can make that call, set that meeting, send that thought leadership, write that LinkedIn post. And as I said, what gets measured gets acted on. Opportunity tracking is the first step toward discipline growth.
Such a great idea. And I'm sure many of us have ways that we've been able to incentivize attorneys, but something that comes to mind is gamifying.
Yes,
There was a deal
it's,
tracker at my last firm that we really wanted people to populate because we
yeah,
needed this information to go out and win new business,
yep.
and for rankings and awards and all of those things. But are there specific things that you've seen or that you've implemented, like gamifying, that rewards people or makes attorneys feel like it's exciting and fun and collaborative or competitive?
Well, competitive and collaborative, like flip sides of the same coins, and lawyers love to be visibly leading. So yes, leaderboards are great. I have
Okay.
have people do like horse race leaderboards or car race leaderboards. You don't have to be that sophisticated. You could just keep a, like a okay, I'm old enough to have been going into the office every day. I know this is not really what people do
Same.
now, so maybe figure out a way to do it online, but just have a whiteboard for your team, your practice group, your area of responsibility, and list the names and list the number of opportunities and put it out there. Let people
Mhm.
see as they walk by, hey, Joe is doing that, but Jill is really killing it, right? And that will help people. You know, contests are good, but sitting down one-on-one with the lawyers to go through their opportunities trumps everything. That's the thing I've seen work best. And if you create teams effectively, do the same thing.
Mm, that's great advice. Well, thank you so much for joining me again this week. I've really learned a lot from our conversations, and I always enjoy seeing you and speaking with you. So, for our listeners, please consider sharing this episode with a friend or colleague that might find it interesting. If you've enjoyed these episodes, please consider leaving a review. It helps us be found on all of the platforms, and continue to send your great feedback to us at podcast@onrecordpr.com. Deb, thank you again for two really insightful and very fun conversations. I appreciate your time.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
On Record PR is produced by Jennifer Simpson Carr and Matt Henderson, with support from the team at Ruble Communications. This episode is edited by Isabel Horan and Christian Yamula. Visit www.onrecordpr.com for resources and more information.